Bowen Grafton. I'm over in the Office of Assessment. I'm fairly new. I've been here since March. I know some of you have been here quite long. So I'm excited to be at Bridgewater in the Office of Assessment and helping the Student Affairs Division. I have done some trainings already, mostly with residential life, some other departments as well, and everyone should have received the PowerPoint for a guide to setting up a basic survey. So no pressure, but just wondering how many of you had a chance to actually go through and set up a survey. Great. And I know some of the others of you are familiar with Qualtrics, so that's great. All right, so what we're going to do, because I have no technology, and because it's hands-on, we're going to go through some advanced features. So it's particularly helpful for those of you who have done the survey. If you could log into Qualtrics and then bring up that survey that you created. That would be great. The first is, everybody logged into Qualtrics, ready to go. When you log into Qualtrics, I have the screen in front of me as well. When you log into Qualtrics, click on, you'll see in front of you, click on the My Surveys tab on the upper left-hand corner. It gives you a list of all the surveys that you either own or someone has shared with you. And you can sort those. I have mine sorted alphabetically. You can sort them on name or whatever those key column names are. There's a star button in the upper left-hand corner where you can highlight. It's basically, it allows you to highlight certain surveys, and you can sort on those as well. So in terms of, I just wanted to discuss two things with respect to my surveys: organizing and collaborating. You can, through the Manage Folders button, create a new folder and put surveys into a folder. So it's very useful if you're in a situation where you're going to be creating a lot of surveys. You know, if you only have 5 or 10 surveys, I wouldn't bother creating folders. I have a lot of surveys, so I create folders, and I'm able to, for example, take a look at surveys related to academic program review. Okay, what I want, because this is more valuable if it's hands-on and you're actually doing some of these things, I'd like you to find your survey, and to the right of your survey, you'll see a column that says responses, which, if you've not previewed your survey, should say 0. And then to the right of that, there's a column that says tasks. And there are various icons below the tasks: edit, results, send, all of those things. Any questions? Everybody there? So under collaborate, I want you to click on collaborate and then type in someone's username or email and add them. I want you to practice adding. Now you can either add an individual, excuse me, or to the right you'll see a little blue, small font, blue line that says user and group address book. If you click on that and you're a part of a group, you can add the whole group. So the advantage to being in a group is that you can not only share surveys, but you can share libraries for questions and things beyond that. So some of you are in a group: residential life, career services, and some of you are not affiliated with a certain group. I think everybody, mostly everybody's affiliated with a group. Any questions so far?
Where's the collaborate option?
To the right of the survey. So if you're on My Surveys,
Okay.
and you see the list of surveys, or you have to click on My Surveys. Slow. And then scroll down. Oh yeah. And then here, so you find your survey and collaborate to the right. Sure. So you're only able to collaborate on the surveys that you own. If you own them, you can collaborate. Okay? And then when you collaborate, once you collaborate, you'll see you have options to give that person. So if you have a survey and you would like someone to look at it, if you have a survey and you'd like someone to look at it, but not to be able to distribute it, you can choose to give those options to them. So you'll see in the collaboration, they can edit, you can copy, distribute. So it's a valuable tool once you start creating surveys and you want other people to review them for you.
When you collaborate with someone, does it send them an email, or does it just show up the next time they log in?
It shows up.
Okay.
I'm going to move on to using blocks and related features. So open up the survey that you've created. I wanted to give you an example of skip logic and display logic and how Qualtrics is able to let you select from, if you say, please indicate the items that you're interested in, you can choose 3 of them and then rank order them and it'll pick the ones that you chose. So it's a really powerful tool that way. All right, I want to show you the block option. So in your survey, I'll trick you another PowerPoint. In your survey, on the right-hand side, there's an advanced options button. So click on the advanced options. Does everybody see that? You're in your survey, and then in the upper right-hand corner, there's an advanced options button. There's several ways to edit, view, and you'll find that. So is everybody in their survey, though? And in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see advanced options. So what you want to do now, one way to do this is in the upper right-hand corner, the first choice on the drop-down box is Add Block. Click on Add Block. Okay? Then you want to name your block, and you can just, after you add the block, you'll see that does everybody see the block? It says block 1. It may say block 2 if you have to name your first one. You can click right on where it says block 1 and name the block. So we're going to call it, if you're in the survey that you created using the first PowerPoint, call it evaluation. Then what I want you to do is set up under block options to the right of where you change the name. If you click on that, a drop-down box appears, and I want you to click on loop and merge. Does everybody have that? Loop and merge. Loop and merge, what loop and merge allows you to do, I know some of you have used it, what loop and merge allows you to do is set up a series of questions that you will be asking for more than one item. So for example, again, if you're doing the survey that I had you create in the basic PowerPoint, question number 4 is, are you planning on attending the following events during 2013-2014? Well, if that question said, did you attend the following events during 2012-2013, we're going to set up a loop and merge so that it lets the respondent, the survey taker, evaluate each of those events. So rather than saying, okay, if they went to this event, then we're going to say, how would you rate this event? And then for the second thing they went to, we're going to ask the same question. We do a loop and merge. Basically running through the same questions without you having to add a new question to the survey. So turn on loop and merge in the upper, right here, upper left-hand corner. And then click on the box that says automatically bring in field 1 from a question. Okay? So far. And then click select question, and it was question number 4. Indicate which of the following events you plan to attend. And again, we're going to pretend that I was going to have you change it, but in order to save time, I'm not going to have you change that question. So we're choosing that. and we're going to pretend that it's which events did you attend, and then if you click on the select choice and pick selected choices, what that tells the survey software is it's going to present the following question, whatever question we write, we haven't written the question yet, for each of the events that the person selected in question 4, okay? So selected choices. All right, and then we're going to save it. And you'll see once you click that question, you'll see under field 1, all of the options have come up, all right? So we're going to say save. In that block, of course I didn't name my block, but hopefully you all did, create a new item, and we're going to choose a multiple choice question, just for simplicity's sake. And basically we're going to ask, I'm not going to write out the whole question, but we would say, please rate the effectiveness of the event that you attended. So please rate the effectiveness of. Now, this is another really helpful tool in Qualtrics. Right here under piped text, I'm going to click on piped text, and then you'll see it allows me to pipe in text or bring in text from any of those options. So I'm going to go down to loop and merge because I've set this question up as a loop and merge, and click on loop and merge fields and field 1. Because back when I was setting up loop and merge, that's the field 1 is the event that the person chose. So please rate the effectiveness of that. You'll see the code for that, and I can just put event in. Okay. And then under the choices, and you probably hopefully remember this from doing the basic survey, let's see, I have 3 choices up in this upper right-hand corner. I'm going to click on automatic choices, the down arrow, and we'll do ineffective to effective. How about that? We want to know if the survey taker, how the survey taker felt about the effectiveness of this event. Now, it automatically changed to 7 responses here. I'm trying to get you all to see this. Whoops. Okay. So I'm going to lower the number of responses to, I'll do 5. Very ineffective, neither, and then the other 2. Now, in survey design, we like to always put the most positive choice first because we like to encourage people to be positive. So you can go up to automatic choices. And going back to this part, before I click on effective and ineffective, I'm going to click on reverse order and then choose ineffective and effective. So I don't know why Qualtrics set up the negative ones first, but in any case. All right. So there's our choice. Please rate the effectiveness of the event. Now, one thing that Qualtrics is really good about doing is updating their software constantly. So I don't know if you've seen when you open the survey, if you use Qualtrics a lot and you open the survey software, you'll have, see the new features below, before your list of surveys. One of the newer features is this preview question here. So if you want to test out your survey as you're designing it, you can always do preview survey. There's a button at the top for that. But that's really nice preview question because you can click on the question and actually just test that one question. All right, anyway, this is our loop and merge, which we will try. Okay, any questions on loop and merge? You'll see how it works when we preview it. I'll hold off on that for a second. We talked about pipe text. The other thing I want to show you is if you scroll to the top now and click on survey flow, what survey flow shows you is how you design your survey. So basically at this point, and basic surveys, it's not that important. You pretty much know what your survey looks like. But if you have a lot of blocks, you can click on survey flow, or if you want to change blocks around or add new elements, this is really helpful. It gives you an overall, it's kind of like looking at the table of contents, okay? All right. There are a couple of question features that I want to show you. I can hit cancel because I didn't change anything in the flow. One that I had you do in the basic survey was forced response. So in the initial question where I'm asking about consent, you always want to have the participant have a forced response. You want to force them to either agree or not to agree to participate in the survey. So you can do that by over on the right, see where under validation options I have the forced response button clicked. Okay? So some questions you want to force a response on, others you may not care about, but that's how you do it, over to the right. Then there's you also may want to set up what's called a default choice for a question. So let's add a new question. I'm going to go to the bottom of block 1, the first block rather. Create a new item. Let's add a multiple choice question, and let's just have it be really simple. We'll say, please indicate, I'm just going to say status because save time. And then we want the students to indicate, we're assuming students are taking this survey, so we're going to indicate, are they undergraduate or are they graduate? All right, drop the number of choices to 2. All right. So there's a couple things, when you add a new question, I want to point a couple of things out. First of all, you'll see that the question number, Qualtrics has automatically numbered this question 9. Some people are more bothered by that than others. And we'll renumber them in just a minute, but rather, I don't want to leave this question here. Oh, undergraduate. I don't want to leave this question here. I want to move it up so that, because I want to have the comments or suggestions be the last question. So use this up arrow here on the left side and just click it once and it will move up. So we'll move the question up 1. All right, so after you move it up, hopefully yours moved up. After you move it up, scroll back up to the top, and in the upper right-hand corner under Advanced Options, you can click on Auto Number Questions. And what that does, it brings up a box and lets you number the questions according to, I would just stick with the simple one at the top, question 1. But if you have a very complex survey, you can do 1.1, 1.2. I'm just going to click on sequential numbering. There you go. Stop. All right. And it should have reordered and renumbered. It should have renumbered, rather. So in mine, because I wasn't able to move the status up for some reason, it went to 6 and 7. And then you'll see in the next block it starts with 8. Okay? So that's helpful if you want to renumber and have it be orderly. All right. So getting back to default choices, on this particular question, if I want to have the default be undergraduate, because I'm assuming that most of the students taking this survey are undergraduates and just making it easy for them, I can go to, on the left side here, there are options on the right and options on the left, and some of the options are the same and some aren't. So on the left-hand side, next to the wheel, there's a down arrow, and I click on Add Default Choices. And I'm going to click on what I want to be the default choices, which is the default choice, which is the undergraduate. I can't save mine. Do you have you should have a save button at the bottom of yours. Yes? Do you have a save button after you click on that at the bottom of the box in the lower right-hand corner? Yeah. Okay. You'll also see there's another feature that you can be looking at while I log back in. There's another feature called Notes on each question, which allows, it doesn't show up for the survey taker, but it allows It allows you to make notes on that question, which is particularly helpful if you're collaborating with other people to develop a survey or review a survey. Okay. Let's go back in here. All right, previewing questions. I told you about the one button, and then at the top, you can click on Preview Survey, which is really helpful because it allows you to take a look, to experience the survey as the survey taker would. All right. So if you click on Preview Survey, it's a pop-up box, and again, yes, you can see how those loop and merge questions work. I'm just going to buzz through some of these. This one. I want to show you those loop and merge in particular. Okay. So this is the question where it's asking which of the following events the person plans to attend. And again, if we had time, I would have had you change it to did you attend. So I'm going to pick 2 events and continue. And then the next question asks me to rank order them, and I'll leave them in this rank ordering of 1 and 2. Here's my question for comments, because my other question didn't come up. Undergraduate, I wasn't able to save the default, so I have to choose that one. Now the loop and merge, please rate the effectiveness of learning about career opportunities. So that was the piped in text from that one option. So I can go ahead and click on something there. And then it goes and asks me the effectiveness of the next item that I chose, which was exploring internships in this field. So that's how that loop and merge works, which is can be really helpful depending on what you're asking. Okay, let me show you one more thing. I'm going to close, this is just a pop-up window, so I'm going to close that window. If you decide that you want to get rid of a question, you're doing your survey design and you decide, oh, I don't want to ask that question anymore. So let's say it's the status question that I added. I can click on the red arrow on the red box on the right and delete it. And you'll notice if you scroll down to the bottom that there's the trash. So I currently have 2 items in my trash/unused. I can empty the trash and get rid of them if I know I'll never need them again. Or if I decide, oh, maybe I do want that status question, I can just click on Restore and it actually will put it back exactly where it was originally. So that's a really nice feature too. Again, if you're collaborating with other people and you decide, oh, maybe I do want this question, maybe I don't, leave it in the trash until you're absolutely sure. Really, you can leave it there permanently too. Okay, any questions so far? So those are some features that I thought would be really helpful for you in doing this service. Okay. I wanted to take a few minutes and go back and look at the look and feel and survey options at the top. And then I just want to talk about survey distribution and looking at the results, analysis of results, okay? So, at the top, and I know I had you do some of this when you were doing the survey, and again, some of you already have experience with this. Look and feel allows you to basically do what it says. Design the look and feel of the survey. So there are 4 parts to it. General parts, fonts, colors, and advanced. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I just wanted to point out a couple of things, some of which I had mentioned in the first PowerPoint. One is the next button and back button. I think it's really valuable to help survey takers to go back and forth. So this allows you to choose what style you want for your button text. And then the progress bar, that's what you saw before. Again, I think as a survey taker, I really appreciate knowing how far I am through a survey. Unless you have a really long survey, if you have a really long survey, you might not want to show people that they're only a little bit
That's true, that makes me stop.
Right, exactly. So if it's really long, which it shouldn't be too long, just don't show them. Question separator, that's a visual. We can highlight the question. You can choose from 2 looks, two basic looks. Bridgewater, it defaults to BSU, which has the logo, or you can choose Qualtrics. For some reason, if you choose BSU, here are the Qualtrics choices. If you choose BSU, it won't let you add a header. If you click on Advanced, and you're using the BSU, it won't let you add a separate header. So most of you aren't, maybe you will, maybe you won't, I don't know. If you're interested in adding a specific header to your survey, just be aware that don't choose BSU, the BSU look on the left, and choose Qualtrics. So, okay, so that's basically look and feel. Survey options is really helpful. So this, and it's blocked up into, it's separated into some major categories. So survey experience, again, the top one lets you choose whether or not to let your survey takers go back, which I always choose. Save and continue also is helpful because if something happens and they were to go back in, they might not finish the survey if you hadn't let them save their prior responses. The other two, export tags, I usually leave. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details with only 15 minutes left, but I'll just hit on the major points. So survey title and meta description. If you were to put this on a website, those are the things that would show up when you click, when you search or click on that for the website. So I usually change the survey title so that it's accurately titled. Survey protection. For most of the surveys that I do, or with which I'm involved, I encourage people to use panels. So in other words, you create a panel of email addresses and you're sending it via email. If you do that, you don't have to worry about ballot box stuffing or authentication. So if you're doing it by invitation only, which again, we would use a panel, set up a file with emails in it and send it to a particular group of people, then everyone will get one invitation. It will be uniquely identified. So if a person receives your survey and passes it on to someone else, only one of them can complete the survey. There's a unique identifier with each email. If you don't do that, if there's open access, you can click on prevent ballot box stuffing. It prevents people from taking it more than once. Okay. Survey expiration. Usually when you do surveys, you want to give them 2 or 3 weeks to complete the survey. So if you want to put in an actual survey expiration date, that's where you would do it, under the bottom of that section, survey expiration. Survey termination is what the respondents get sent to when they finish the survey. So, again, if we had more time, I'd go through this a little bit more in depth. But if, for example, you're previewing your survey and you click on no, I don't agree to take this survey, excuse me, they'll be sent immediately to the end of the survey, and there's a standard line that says, thank you for taking this survey. If you want to change that, you can click on end of survey message from a library. This is helpful because so I have a group, I set up this Student Affairs Assessment Committee, and I set up a sample end of survey message. So you can set up these messages within your group and you don't have to keep recreating them. Of course, this isn't telling you what it is, but it basically says, thank you for taking this survey. You can design it so that it says, Student Affairs really appreciates your responses. And using that piped text feature that we saw in the loop and merge, you can actually pipe in the first or last name of somebody from the panel, which is really helpful. So if you're sending it to students, and say, thank you, Susan, for taking this survey. It just makes them feel, it's a more personal feel. Okay. The only other piece here that I would change at this point is under partial completion. Again, if somebody starts a survey, you have to indicate how long you're going to give them in order to finish. So a month, 2 months, depends on how long your survey is open for. Okay? Any questions under survey options? And I'll let you that fairly quick. Just, it's a great tool. You can play around with it. You can create surveys, sample surveys, and test them with each other. Okay, I want to talk about distributing the survey. Actually, I'm going to go to a survey that I did for residential life. It was an assessment of a training I did for residential life because it has the results. Okay, that's life. So you won't be able to do this unless you have a survey for which you have results. So distributing the survey, in order to distribute a survey, you have to activate it, and it will prompt you to do that. So you can choose to do email survey, which again is what I mostly do. And you'll see here what I've done is email survey brings up an email that allows you to choose to whom you're going to send it, and then when you're going to send it. So if you're doing your survey, you're creating your survey, but you don't want to send it for a week or a month, you can go ahead and set that up. You don't have to do this and send it right away. It's a nice feature. And then you identify who it's from, who it's to, what it's regarding. And again, in the message, this is where you can say, "Dear so-and-so," pipe in the text. You can pipe in their first name. "Dear Susan, please, we're doing the survey in order to assess whatever. Please help us out by doing it." It just makes it more personal. It'll increase your response rate. And the other thing with respect to surveys you have to think about is when is the best time to send them? Friday afternoons usually aren't that great if you want a good response rate. Yes?
Just a little tip, because Joanna tried to help me with this. Because it gives you an option to wait to send it, I would recommend that you use that. I was working with 2 surveys. One was going to parents of students about opening, and one was going to residents. And I picked the wrong panel for the wrong survey, and I sent it immediately, and once it's sent, there's nothing that we could do.
Right.
Joanna and I tried to figure it out. So if I had just said send it in an hour, I would have had a chance to catch my mistake, and I would have been able to gone back and fix it. The surveys were identical, and we still got really good data, except students answered questions about what did your son and daughter feel about opening. But no one complained. So I just, from experience, my recommendation would be never send it right away, and it'll give you an opportunity to look at what you did.
Great. Email history. Once you've sent it, you can go into email history, and this is helpful after it's sent, so you're able to see the date that it went, the date and the time that it went. How many emails failed? That's just bad email addresses. How many emails were sent? The number of surveys that were started, the number that were finished, and then I'll talk about the action on the right from that. So this is great. You can just check your email history and see how many were sent and how many were started. This bell indicates that I've set a reminder. So again, I did this training for residence life and housing on Qualtrics, and a lot of people, many in the room, were really good about responding, and some weren't, so I wanted to send a reminder. Also, I sent 2 reminders. The first one of the 19 people, 10 finished it right away, so you'll see the first reminder went to 9 of them, the second reminder went to 4 of them, but it gives me that history. And it only sends it, the great thing about the reminders, it only sends it to people who haven't finished the survey. Okay, on the right, so after you sent your email, if you do want to send a reminder or group thank you, you click on the right under actions, and you can click on send reminder or thank you. Again, be sure to click on one of the boxes up here, because if you don't, and you'll resend the survey, and it just okay, the other way you can another way you can distribute is through social media. Has anybody in the room done this? Distributed surveys through social media? Okay. Your basic choices: tweeting, Facebook, Google. Put in the tags, save and continue. All right. Let's go to view results, because I want to make sure we cover this before 12 o'clock. So if you click on the tab, View Results, again, you have to be in a survey where there are results. You'll see there are 4 options along the top. View reports, responses, download data, and cross-tabulation. On the very right-hand side, it shows you how many are started and how many were completed. Responses, particularly if you've used a panel, again, a panel is just a file with email addresses in it. If you've used a panel, it's really nice because you can scroll down. You can scroll down and see who's responded. You can see when they started it, how long they took in doing the survey. There's a lot of data to analyze if you want. And then, so these are the people who have responded. Finished their response, they're recorded responses, which means they've gotten to the end of the survey. This is important. It doesn't necessarily mean that they've answered every question, but
I was pretty relieved to see my name was there.
right? I know, I should be all did that. Yeah, I showed all the names. A lot of people are in the room. I won't click on responses in progress then. So. The recorded responses, no, I lost my train of thought. The recorded responses, so it only means that the people have gotten to the end of the survey. So when you're doing the survey design and you see those forward and back buttons, once they click on that last question and they click the next button, they're done. It's going to be recorded. So if you have someone who likes to look at the survey, and this happens, I found more often than I would have thought, that people like to look at the questions before they answer them, or at least some of them do. So you might want to have, right before the last question, you might want to have a line. You can add it as a question with just text that says, if you click on the next button, your survey responses will be recorded and you won't be allowed to change them. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So just be wary of that because you want to get as many complete responses as you can. So anyway, I found how to do it. I won't click on responses in progress because I know there are people in the room who are on that list. So I don't want to embarrass you. But it shows you people who are on the panel who haven't responded yet or who haven't finished yet. Okay, so those are the responses, and then. All right, View Reports basically shows you, it always does an initial report, basically shows you frequency. So I asked if people felt that they were able to build surveys in Qualtrics and able to use data in assessment reports after we did it. And I had 5 categories: strongly agree to strongly disagree. It gives me all the averages. I asked for min. It gives min, max, and mean, the average. Up in the upper right-hand corner, I can add graphs if I want. I can add tables if I want. So this allows me to add a graph. This is going to be a little slow, unfortunately. But so see how it put in a bar graph. And then I can choose the type of graph. The report, I find that the reporting is very user-friendly, very helpful. You can choose different layout options for graphs and tables. You can, really helpfully, copy the report, export the report. You can put it into Word, PowerPoint, Excel, or Adobe. After that. So that's one way to do it, is through View Reports. Another way to do it is to download data, which essentially just lets you download the data in a variety of forms. Excel, you can dump it into an Excel spreadsheet. Some of a more sophisticated analysis that we do in the Office of Assessment is into SPSS, and there are some other options as well. But for the most part, I found that departments on campus would dump it into Excel if they don't want to use the formats that are there. If you do this, I just want to point out one thing, which is under representation, it's really helpful to click on answers as labels. Otherwise, you'll get the coding that you used, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you may say, oh, I don't remember what that was. So answers as labels is if you're going to download the data, be sure you click on that. Otherwise, you'll have to go back and cross-check what the numbers mean. The other way to get good reporting is this beta tab, reporting beta tab. So Qualtrics is in the process of developing a reporting system, and you can use this. It's very similar to the view report. I'll leave it at that. I want to hit on one more thing. Try it out. Again, the reporting's really user-friendly. You can download it into Excel or Word, PowerPoint, which really helps. The only other thing in view results is the tab for cross-tabulation. Now, some of you are familiar with that, and some aren't. What cross-tabulation does is it lets you analyze the results of a question based on different things. So banner and stub basically means columns and rows. So let's say I did this training. I want to ask, this is not a good training to do this with. Prior to the training, how much experience did you have with Qualtrics? So I want to know, I want to take a look at people's prior experience with Qualtrics versus their current feeling of their ability to build a survey in Qualtrics. So I would choose those two things. I don't think the data's in here. I'll show you a better crosstabs, but let's see. Come on. Okay, it is. So this shows me that prior to the training, it broke down the categories of how much experience did you have with Qualtrics. I had asked none, some, a lot. And then how much do they agree with the statement, I'm able to build surveys in Qualtrics. So the 5 people who had no experience strongly agree that they can now build a survey in Qualtrics. That was great news for me. I was like, yay, they can build surveys. I did my job. So crosstabs lets you do that. It lets you analyze those answers to the questions based on other categories that you've determined in other questions. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the best.
What's the best?
Crosstabs.
Oh, it's so good. It's so great. And then if you want more statistical analysis, you can always come to me. Come to the Office of Assessment and we can do that for you. But it's a very powerful tool. And see here you can export crosstabs into Excel if you want. So hopefully that's given you more advanced options to work with. Sorry about the technological problems here. We've run a little bit smoother, but
yeah. For the Student Affairs Assessment Committee, we just want to thank Joanna for being willing to do this. Again, our apologies that we had problems today with the technology. This is the regular meeting time for the Student Affairs Assessment Committee, so we planned this during this and then opened it up to other folks. But one of the things that Joanna has agreed to do for us, and Shelley Keniston is a member of the committee that will be working on, is once a month throughout the semester, we're going to offer a brown bag on a different topic. We can do more with Qualtrics. We have a couple of things that people have asked for already. How to analyze your data, how to share your results are some of the ideas that we have. So Shelley will be working with Joanna on a schedule. Our plan is we will provide dessert, coffee, and tea, and you're welcome to bring your lunch to those, and we're going to do those once a month. So we'll all get more familiar as we learn. So thanks for coming today again. Sorry that we had some IT difficulties and that it was freezing in here. But thank you for showing up.